Joining us now is Senator Sherrod Brown, Democrat of Ohio, and member of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. Senator Brown, thanks very much for joining us.
Glad to be back, Rachel. Thanks.
What kind of time frame do you think that we're looking at for health reform? Senator Reid says he wants the debate underway before Thanksgiving. Do you think that'll happen?
Yeah, I think it can. I think that, this is the same old game. First of all, these people have a pretty short memory. In the first part of the decade, the Bush administration, with Mitch McConnell as one of their most loyal soldiers, jammed through the tax cuts for the rich by May of the first year. It took them 4 months, 4.5 months, something like that. So they're talking out both sides of their mouth, but they know their best allies delay. The longer they delay, the more time the drug companies, the more time the insurance companies, the more time the special interests have to create these myths and spin these ideas and make up stuff like death panels. That's the game they play. That's what their delay's all about. If they can delay and delay and delay, they think they can defeat us. But we're on to that game. It's taken too long already because of some things that happened in August and September, as you and I and others on your show have talked about, Rachel. But we're ready this time.
Well, what about Senator Harkin's suggestion today that one of the ways to combat the Republican strategy on this is to pressure Republicans who want a filibuster, making a filibuster be a real 24-hour around-the-clock debate? Would Democrats really do that?
Yeah, well, I think it's whatever it takes. Everybody in the Democratic caucus understands, and I mean everybody, including those that are not quite as supportive of the public option as many of the rest of us, but everybody understands that this is the most important thing they have ever done in their professional lives, frankly, passing this health care bill. Next to my vote against the war in Iraq, it's the most important vote I will ever cast when I vote for this in December, then again whenever, the second time when it's sent to the president's desk. And we'll do whatever it takes. If it means 24-hour sessions, if it means staying here weekends and working Saturday night, Sunday night, I don't care. And I think that virtually all my Democratic colleagues understand the importance of it, and we're going to do whatever it takes. If they force the reading of the bill word by word, line by line, page by page, which will take hours and hours, doing that if the clerk has to do that, and the Republicans have the right to order that, then we stay in and we read. We have the clerk read. They that's the same clerk, but they alternate. They read for 24, 26, 28 hours, however long it takes. We just need to do this and not let them play these games anymore.
Well, the exception to that shared commitment you're describing among the Democratic caucus is, of course, Joe Lieberman, who has been promising for weeks to join a Republican filibuster if the Senate bill includes a public option. Now Ben Nelson of Nebraska also making noises that he might join Joe Lieberman and the Republicans with the same strategy. What do you think will be the response to that? And do you think the bill that will come to the floor will have a public option?
First of all, I think we move forward. We met with Leader Reid today. The overwhelming support in the Democratic caucus, at least as Chairman Harkin thinks, 55 votes out of 60 are for the public option. We're not going to let the tail wag the dog here, the 3 or 4 members who don't support it. And what it comes down to is this. Everybody votes to bring it to the floor. We have the debate for a couple of weeks, however long it takes. And during that process, anybody that's opposed to certain things has a chance to amend it. And I think by the end, I can't obviously speak or commit for my colleagues, but I think in the end, the people who are less supportive of the public option than some of us, I think they don't want to be on the wrong side of history. I think that they're going to have great difficulty in their own minds and their own hearts voting to kill the most important issue of their careers on a procedural vote. They can vote against the legislation, fine, but don't kill this on a procedural vote. And I think that Joe and Ben, and again, I can't speak for them, but I think in the end that they're going to understand the importance of this after they've had their chance to amend the bill in these 2 or 3 weeks on a straight, fair, up or down vote. Make your arguments against the public option. We'll make our arguments for it. I think our arguments clearly have won in the court of public opinion and will win in the Senate. And then I think they vote for cloture on the procedural issue, then final passage. We only need 51 votes, and we'll get significantly more than that.
I also want to ask you about something that emerged last week as a potentially major divisive issue for Democrats, and that is, of course, the issue of abortion. House progressives have made it clear that Congressman Stupak's abortion amendment is a bit of a poison pill, describing it, frankly, in the way that I see it, which is a way to use health reform to further restrict access to abortion. How serious of a threat is that abortion issue to passing health reform in the Senate?
Well, I don't think it's a threat at all. I think that there are no more than 4 or 5 senators, the Democratic senators, that you would say that I would say are anti-choice. There are, I think, 2 Republicans that are pro-choice. So, again, on an up or down vote, Harry Reid's not going to put the Stupak language in the bill. I'd be certain. I've not spoken to him, but I'd be certain on that. Then the Republicans will try to amend it in the bill, and they will be unsuccessful. They won't get even close to 50 votes on trying to amend it into the bill. Diana DeGette, the House Democrat from Denver, who has been a great leader on this issue, as she has on a lot of health care issues, diabetes and other things. Diana told me on the phone over the weekend that she's convinced the House can pass it without the Stupak language because, again, it's such an important issue, and that's why we get elected. I mean, that's why we run for office, is to do things as important as health care. And I just feel so privileged. I was in Oberlin over the weekend and was talking to some old friends, and I just said, I feel so privileged to be here in the Senate at this time when we can do what people in this government have tried to do for 75 years, what people in this country have wanted to do for decades, to finally pass health insurance reform. So those people from New Orleans that MSNBC has shown, people like from New Orleans to Cleveland to Toledo to Dayton will finally get health insurance and won't have to worry about pre-existing condition and having insurance companies drop them from their coverage because they got sick and it costs too much money.
Senator Sherrod Brown, Democrat of Ohio, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Always.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Rachel.
Senator Brown, you will see that quote from Senator Brown tomorrow in the news. Whatever it takes. Also describing Senator Reid as, at least in Senator Brown's perception, he's certain not to include the Stupak language in the bill. Making some news here.